Tell your lungs to fill with air so you can breathe and have self-control. Drugs interfere with the way your brain processes information, changing how you feel, think, and act. Any good feelings you get from drugs or alcohol come from the brain chemical called dopamine. Dopamine tells your brain it likes those feelings and makes you want to feel that way more often. The problem is, over time, it takes more and more of the drug or alcohol to make you feel as good as you did the first time. And when you can't get enough to feel good, you start to experience withdrawal. Withdrawal can trigger emotions like stress, anxiety, depression, and physical reactions like sweating, vomiting, and pain. At this point, many people need the drug just to keep from feeling bad. This is what addiction feels like, and is called substance use disorder, the disease of being addicted to a drug or alcohol. Using drugs also changes how you look. Your skin will age faster. You can develop sores and lose teeth if you use meth. Smoking turns your hair gray, makes your skin sag, and your nails yellow. Each time you use drugs increases the chance for that drug to cause damage, either harming your brain, causing you to make bad decisions, or interfering with your body's functions like breathing, which leads to death. The experiences you're having now shape the creation of neurons and connections in your brain that influence your memory, perceptions, and ability to work better and better. Adding drugs and alcohol to that process is like scrambling the letters on a keyboard while you're trying to code a computer. If you scramble the letters on a keyboard after the program is written, that can lead to temporary errors and make it hard for the program to run for a while. But if you scramble the letters while the program is being written, the program can incorporate catastrophic, long-lasting glitches. Good news, by avoiding drugs and alcohol, you can become the best version of yourself. You have the power to protect your brain and allow it to develop to its full potential. Use the facts about drugs and alcohol to make decisions that will make your future the best it can be. The facts, your future.
Doing teachers, right? Just teachers.
So at this time, I'd like to announce our first speaker, Assistant Secretary Sonny Peacock. Mr. Peacock is the Assistant Secretary for the Probation and Community Intervention at the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice. He began his career with the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice in 1998 as an OPS delinquency case manager. Since that time, he has served as the juvenile probation officer, a juvenile probation supervisor, and the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Grant specialist for the FDJJ, the Director of Policy and Programming in the Probation and Community Intervention Office, and is now the Assistant Secretary of Probation and Community Intervention. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice from the University of West Florida in 1997 and is certified public manager certification from the Florida Center of Public Management at the Florida State University in 2010. Please give a warrior welcome to Mr. Sandy Peacock.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Ooh, tough crowd. I got the same reception last week when I spoke at church. Can we try that again? How's everybody doing today? All right, that's a little better. All right. Well, good morning. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you this morning to speak with you about the facts and your future. Our goal this morning is not to try to scare you or lecture you. Actually, what we want to do is just inform you. We want to raise your awareness on the dangers of substance abuse. So just keep that perspective as you leave today. You're the best and the brightest. This generation will make an informed decision, and I know when you leave here today, after you've listened to our speakers, we'll give you a lot of food for thought, and I'm convinced that you'll make the right choice, the healthy choice, and that is to stay away from substance abuse. Study after study shows a very strong correlation between substance abuse and delinquency. 80% of the youth that are involved in the juvenile justice system across the country, including systems like the Department of Juvenile Justice, were either high or drunk when they committed their offense, were arrested for a substance abuse specific charge, at some point after their arrest tested positive for substances, or at some point during an assessment revealed that they had an alcohol or substance abuse addiction, or in some cases a combination of these various characteristics. 80%. So I guess what I would say in plain language is if you use alcohol and you use drugs, it's very likely that you're going to come spend time with me at the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice. Arrest is a consequence for using drugs, for drinking underage. Adjudication and probation are likely consequences of using drugs and alcohol. Sometimes substance abuse results in you actually being detained and held secure in a juvenile detention center. Or there are some youth that are taken away from their home, their school, their family, and their friends, and they're locked up behind a closed door with razor wire where they receive intensive therapy. Those are the likely or typical consequences for substance abuse related offending. Unfortunately, though, that's the typical. There are some situations, and we see it every day, where young people involved and engaged in illegal activity regarding whether it's underage drinking, substance abuse, actually end up losing their lives. So what is the Department of Juvenile Justice doing to combat substance abuse amongst its young people? We put a lot of effort and emphasis, money, time into prevention, doing things kind of like we're doing today, where we teach education classes. We offer drug courts, where youth participate in a drug court setting. We do numerous screenings and assessments. We do random urinalysis testing. We offer intensive outpatient counseling. And again, we also do inpatient counseling. I'd like to take just a couple of minutes, if I have enough time, to maybe make this a little bit more personal. And I'd like to tell you about someone named Matthew. When Matthew was about 13 or 14 years old, he began to hang out with the wrong crowd. And Matthew grew up in a small town. And so on Friday nights after a football game or on Saturdays, the kids used to go to the woods and drink beer, and sometimes they'd smoke a little pot. No big deal, right? That's just teenagers being teenagers. Well, over the course of some time, Matt and his friends ended up getting arrested. Matt was arrested in 1999 for a misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Just a first-degree misdemeanor. No history, comes from a good home, good family, and Matt had the opportunity, after his arrest, to participate in some prevention and diversion services. But Matt did not listen. He didn't think what he was doing was a big deal. He was just drinking cold beer, smoking pot, and hanging out with friends. Well, after some time, Matt got into some more trouble and got arrested and was delivered to the Department of Juvenile Justice. The charges were a little bit more serious this time, so he had to stay in secure detention. His mom and his stepdad, other family members went to visit him to encourage him. Several people that work at the detention center spent time trying to mentor him, convince him to make smarter choices, and he got out, and again, he didn't listen. Matt went on to go to juvenile probation, and after he left the juvenile system, he spent time in and out of county jail. But it went from just having cold beer and smoking pot on a Friday night to something more dangerous. As if that wasn't dangerous enough, now he had an addiction, a strong addiction to prescription pain pills. He was breaking into people's homes and stealing their pills. He would break into his mother and father's bedroom and steal his mother's jewelry. He would steal his father's guns. Anything that had any value, he would steal it and sell it to feed his addiction. Matt became a different young man. He wasn't the kind, lovable young man that he was when he was 13, 14, 15 years old. Now he was a very angry man. He was a young man that was dangerous, and people were scared of him. The drugs changed him. It changed his personality and his behavior. Matt would go on to adult probation and was given chance after chance, and he never would listen. He never listened. And eventually, in 2010, Matt went to prison. He went to prison for multiple counts of forgery. He was writing bad checks. He went to prison for possession of a weapon and battery. And when he got out of prison, he had a very, very difficult time transitioning back into his community. As a grown man, he had to move in with his mom and dad, where he lived up until just a few years ago. He had a very, very difficult time finding employment. No one wanted to hire him. No one. He had a felony conviction on his record. He was unable to pass the urinalysis test for multiple jobs that were willing to give him a chance. And so here he is, a 30-year-old man, 35-year-old man rather, living at home with his mom and dad, no future, no hope. What started out as a good time in the woods turned out to be an addiction that he still struggles with today. Matt has changed his life, though. Several years ago, he gave his life to the Lord. He became a Christian, started attending church. He sought counseling. He attended regular counseling sessions. He met a young girl. He's a father now, and he's doing good. He finally has moved out with his family. They're on their own. He has a good job now. And if Matt were here today, what he would tell you guys is this: don't make dumb choices. Make smart choices. Finish school. Get your high school diploma and go to college. If you don't want to go to college, go to vocational training. Learn a trade. If you want to join the military, go join the military. Serve your country. Occupy your free time with music and arts, sports, whatever it is that you're interested in, youth groups at church. Surround yourselves with positive people who have your best interest in mind. Don't be a follower, be strong, be a leader. The reason why I know Matt would tell you that today is because of this. Matt is my cousin. Substance abuse has impacted my family personally. So I've seen this both professionally and working with young people your age and what it does to your lives, your family's lives, and I've seen how it's impacted my own family. And so with that, I'll stop and turn it over to our next speaker. And I'll just introduce her real quick, like Dr. Peggy Ani from the Florida Department of Education.
Good morning, everyone. And what a powerful story of Matthew. And it really personalizes it. And I just want to say how grateful I am to be here in the room with you all, and to your principal for making this possible, as well as Palm Beach Schools, your teachers for taking the time. At the Department of Education, as you've progressed through your schooling, you've seen an emphasis on health education standards. That includes character education or resilience, resilience being building grit and perseverance, making responsible decisions, and ensuring, just as was shared, that you're looking ahead to the future. Additionally, we have substance use and abuse standards. You've received education in those areas since elementary school, learning how dangerous substances can be and how to, again, make responsible choices. Those were just updated in June 2021, and they continue to be a priority. And you'll think back through your elementary, middle, and now high school, how you've had that content and that important information shared throughout your courses. This is such an important time as you're preparing not only for that high school diploma, but where are you going next? Where are you going in your journey? On to college, on to career and technical education, gaining credentials, going right into the workforce, the military. There's so many things that are open to you, and you want to keep all of those doors open. And with that, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to address you today and to be a little bit of a part of your journey as we have this important assembly and share information about keeping doors open, making responsible choices, and doing your best and achieving your utmost. And with that, I am honored to introduce Dawn Witherspoon to share some more information with us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Just a quick question. How many of you guys, show of hands, checked your social media this morning when you woke up to see what was going on? That's it? I really feel like there should be more hands, right? More? I don't do that anymore. I don't do that, and I haven't done that for the last 5 years. I particularly don't do that because on June 1st, 2017, I woke up at about 6 o'clock this morning, or in the morning, and I called my husband. My husband, Paul, was a paramedic, right here in Jupiter, actually. He was a 18-year veteran critical care paramedic. He went to school in Dwyer. Jupiter wasn't built at the time. So he graduated from Dwyer back in 2000, and he knew from middle school that he wanted to be a paramedic. He actually worked at Jupiter Medical Center in the cafeteria. I joked around with him when I was writing his resume that he was a tray aide, and he would strategically place Jell-O in the right section before it was delivered to the hospital patients. But that was the closest that he could get to volunteering to be what he wanted to be, which was a paramedic. All the way up through high school, he decided that he was going to go and get his EMT when he was 18 and then become a paramedic. He was a critical care paramedic. He was a flight medic. He was an instructor. He actually taught at Palm Beach College down the street. And he was just so intertwined in this community, and he was an amazing, amazing person that all he ever wanted to do was save lives. He was my husband. He was the best husband and the best father that I could ever have imagined. But on June 1st, 2017, when I called him, I said, "Hurry up and get home, Paul." I had to leave a message because I assumed he was on a call. And I said, "Hey, Paul, hurry up and get home. You and Allie, you guys have the daughter dance today, the daddy-daughter dance that you guys have to get to. So don't take a late call," because he liked those, because that was his thing. "Don't take a late call. Just get home and hurry up." I then proceeded to open up my Facebook and scrolling through my Facebook, and I saw R.I.P. Paul. Rest in peace, Paul. What happened? Oh no, tell me that wasn't you. I then looked at the TV screen, and my husband's ambulance was sideways with a body outside on the road with a yellow tarp over it, right here on Indian Town in Philadelphia, So it hits pretty close for you guys. It's right there. There's a marker with his name on it, right? It's a Colonial or Centennial Plaza. That morning, very early in the morning, about 2 o'clock, my husband was running a call for a cardiac arrest from a nursing home from Jupiter Gardens. He went and dropped off the patient with his partner over at Jupiter Medical Center. They saved her, and he was on his way back to the station to get a little bit of sleep. When he was on his way back to the station, a guy who had been drinking since 7 o'clock the previous morning was just coming home after having a good day. He turned right in front of the ambulance to go to his house, not seeing the ambulance, not paying a bit of attention. When that happened, the ambulance impacted the car and it fell over. My husband's partner at the time was not wearing his seatbelt. On impact, my husband's partner was killed instantly when he went through the window. When the ambulance fell on his side, my husband's partner was about 6'4", 320 pounds, fell on top of my husband. My husband suffocated to death in the ambulance because of the choices that the person drinking made. He made the decision to drink. He made the decision to drive. He made the decision to drive home knowing he was too drunk to drive. It's 2017, now it's 2022. We all know drinking and driving is bad, right? You all know if you drink and drive, you can kill someone. So that was his decision to make. His decision cost so many other changes in life. It cost my daughter, who was 6 at the time, she's 11 now, to not have a father. No dad there to walk her down the aisle when she gets married. No dad there for daddy-daughter dances. No dad there for daddy donut day at school. It also changed the community in many ways. My husband volunteered all the time. He saved lives, that's what he did. I think he delivered about 22 children. He was a field training officer, so he trained most anyone that came through his company. He was a flight, like I said, he was a flight medic. He was an instructor, so he impacted lives. Both of those men impacted lives. The one man who decided to do the wrong thing and took away a man that impacted the community in such a positive way. So what I leave you with today is that everyone makes an impact, no matter how small or how big it is. It's your decision whether you want to make a positive impact on life or a negative impact on life. And I really do hope that you choose to make a positive impact. With that, I would like to thank you again for letting me come here and speak to you guys. If you guys do happen to go on Indian Town Road and you see his plaque, just remember the story. You can share the story with others if you guys are out drinking. I would appreciate that. He would appreciate that. But thank you so much. And I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Shepley.
Good morning, everyone. I've had the privilege and honor to be at a number of schools around the state, but this one's the most important to me because this is where I live, right here in Jupiter. This is where my kids went to school. Actually, several of them in HOSA. Anyone in HOSA here in this audience? So this is where their dreams all started. And like a lot of young people, they have dreams to go on and do things in life. And those dreams can be derailed by drugs and alcohol, as you heard some of these horrible stories. So I am board certified in emergency medicine and the subspecialty of EMS. I've been a physician for 30 years. I've treated roughly 100,000 patients. I wish I could say those stories that you heard today were rare, but they're not. I've lost count how many times I've told a mom or a dad that their child is dead because they overdosed on some drug. Many times, especially recently, the person overdosing on the drug had no idea that they were taking something deadly. Fentanyl. Who's here has heard of fentanyl? Good. Fentanyl is an an opioid. It's a drug that is being poured onto our streets and combined in just about every street substance that you can buy. You might think that you're smoking pot. I pronounced somebody dead who thought they were only smoking pot that was laced with fentanyl. You might think you're taking something that's just a pill, like Xanax or something. It wasn't. It was a fentanyl pill. The drug dealers have become very, very sophisticated at making these things look like pharmaceutical medications. Their goal is to make you their customers for life. It's all a big scam. The same scam that tobacco companies have done in this country for years. They create product and make it seem like it's cool or it's fun to get you to try it, knowing that if you try it, you may become addicted. And what might be a choice right now for you, say, hey, I'm going to try this thing. It's your choice whether to try it or not. You lose that choice once you become addicted. And then you're a customer for life until, of course, you overdose and die. Now, you are all at the age where overdose deaths is the #1 cause of death. Let that sink in. Of all the things to be afraid of, at your age, if you're going to die, overdose death. That's what's going to kill you. Many of you are already vaping, as if that's a harmless thing. I also lost count how many people, young, we just went through a COVID pandemic. Relatively mild for young people. You know which young people it's not mild for? The ones that were vaping. Those are the ones that ended up on the ventilators in the ICU. This is not harmless stuff. And vaping, many of those vapes, 20 times more addictive than a pack of cigarettes. You think that's by accident? It's not by accident. They want you to be customers for life. And they want you to be addicted. So let's talk about the science of addiction. Some of you have genetic risk factors. You don't know personally if you have those genetic risk factors or not. Because you've seen some of your friends and maybe some older siblings, they went out and partied and they're fine. Why won't you be fine? We don't know who's going to take a substance and then be stuck taking that for the rest of their life. Once you have addiction, that disease, we call it now substance use disorder, you have it for life. For life. It will never go away. You will struggle it for life. You already heard that story, the story of Matthew. That's a very common story. I hear that all the time. And it is a disease that is horrendously difficult to treat. It destroys people's lives. Half the people with this disease become homeless. 2/3 of them end up with hepatitis C if they're shooting up drugs. Many of them have HIV. It becomes so important and central to your life. Think of the friends that you have right now, your family members. If you get this disease, friends and family mean nothing. It's all about the drugs. Laws mean nothing. It's all about the drugs. It literally takes over your entire life. And I've seen it over and over and over again in emergency departments, 911, when I and my paramedics will roll out on the street. We see this over and over. The whole purpose of today, as you heard, it's not to scare you. It's to give you the facts. You need to know what you're up against. You've got people, unscrupulous people out there, that want to make you customers for life. They don't care about you. They market this stuff as, hey, this is cool, this is fun. I heard some really amazing stories as I've traveled around the state of Florida delivering these talks. But the one thing I keep hearing from all the folks, the young folks like you, who survived. There's one gentleman, oh my God, it's this guy, his spirit is amazing. He was 16 years old. I'm going to share his story because it was so powerful. He was 16, he decided to go drinking with his buddies, have a good time, and he went out driving. Predictably, it ended in tragedy. He got into a car crash. Metal smashed right into his face. He lost both his eyes. He was in a coma for weeks. He survived after significant damage to both his face, his brain, and now he's blind. You know what he tells his colleagues, people your age, and this is the take-home message, it's not worth it. if there's anything you take home from today, I hope that's the message. It's not worth it. You guys have dreams to go to college or work or have families or wherever your dreams happen to be in life. Substance use disorder destroys those dreams, destroys families, and not just your own family, it destroys other people's families. This creates a biological imperative in your brain that you cannot stop, almost like obsessive compulsive disorder, where there's no stopping this behavior without help. Now, the good news is there is help. But when you look out there at the various treatment programs, most of them really aren't all that successful. In the single digits, meaning of 100 people that have this disease that goes through a treatment program, maybe 5%, maybe 6%, maybe 7% will have some long-term good outcomes. Recently, we in medicine have discovered some better ways for both alcohol and opioids, where we have much higher success rates than 60 to 70%, but those programs are rare. Fortunately, in Florida, we are developing those programs around the state. That's called the Coordinated Opioid Recovery Network. Many of you here probably already know friends, family, relatives, loved ones that have this disease. I don't want you to raise your hand because I know, as you heard, this is a disease that touches everyone. If you have someone that has this problem, there is some help. It's not easy, it's a difficult road, but you want evidence-based medical help. There is no other disease in all of medicine that is lifelong, life-threatening, chronic, and relapsing, where we expect the patient to take nothing. It's been a poorly and misunderstood disease for a long time. You hear these words, detox, or you should be clean. There's no other disease in medicine where we expect the patient to take nothing. And it turns out the evidence is there are medications that you can take that reduce the cravings for these drugs that drive you to all these terrible behaviors. So I'm going to give you a phone number here locally. The program that we set up here in Palm Beach County is now the model for the state. Will soon become the model for the nation. We're really fortunate here in Palm Beach County. We have a fantastic EMS system, fantastic hospitals, a lot of bright souls like you all in this school. 561, write this down, put it in your phones. Anybody that needs help, this is the number they should call 24/7 here in Palm Beach County. 561-642-1000. That will hook you up with a scientific evidence-based program that was the inspiration for the entire core network that we're setting up around Florida. I'll say it again, 561-642-1000. Now, I don't mean to be up here and be a drag, but we did want to give you guys the facts. This is all about your future. And there's websites you can go to learn more about this. Hopefully you take some of this stuff to heart. Hopefully you realize, listen, those dreams you have, don't let them be derailed by these folks that want to make you customers for life. It's not worth it. Thank you very much, and let's bring back your next one.
Thank you to all of our presenters this morning. So warriors, we have been talking to you all for many years about making the right choices and doing the right thing, how the choices that you make today, as you can hear, will have a significant impact, whether they be positive or negative, on the rest of your life. So take a few minutes, just think about what you heard today. Make sure that you're understanding that you are in control of your future, and the choices that you make today will set you on the right path or potentially the wrong path. We also are very big in the school about see something, say something. So if you know that someone is vaping and making bad choices, we hope that you have strength and courage to tell an adult so we can intervene and assist that person in getting some help. So thank you for your patience and understanding and awesome behavior this morning. And we're going to send you back to class, but we're going to start with this side of the auditorium to my right. You're going to dismiss out those doors.